Is a Jaylen Brown contract extension going to happen? That's how we're going to kick off today's episode of Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Forgive me, I am a little bit under the weather, but we do want to get you caught up on the latest around the seas. Latest report is that the Celtics are soon expected to resume extension discussions with one Jaylen Brown. This coming in from Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe. He says with Jaylen Brown now back in Boston from his NBPA retreat in Spain, contract talks will resume next week, according to a league source. And that was a couple of days ago, so you would assume next week would be this week. So sometime in the next couple of days, an extension discussions will resume, I should say. And look, I know it's a bit of a polarizing topic among Celtics fans, and I know Jaylen Brown didn't have a great playoff stretch, but you don't want to lose a player like this. Like, you would rather extend him and then trade him later if you decide you want to move on, or if he decides he wants to play elsewhere, because what you don't want to do is be hesitant, let him play out his contract, and then lose him for nothing. That is the worst case scenario. I still believe in Jaylen Brown. He's one of the best kind of sidekicks, if you will, in the NBA. He can score the basketball. He can defend. I don't think he had his best defensive season last year, but he can defend 1 through 3s. He can dish the ball. He can shoot from 3, all 3 levels he can score at. With Jayson Tatum as Batman and Jaylen Brown as Robin, they've gone to the NBA Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals the last 2 seasons. Like, let's not overreact to Brown not having a great playoff run last year. Now, he does need to perform better in the postseason. There's no doubt about that. But 2 years ago in the postseason, he was the better player in the NBA Finals than Jayson Tatum against the Golden State Warriors. He's proven he can be that top guy from time to time. Now, you don't want him to be a number 1. Like, he's a great 2, an unreal 3 if he were to ever be a number 3 on a team. But I think with Tatum as your 1, Brown as your 2, Kristaps Porzingis as your 3, you've got a good nucleus there with good role players around those guys to be in the mix to win the NBA Finals for years to come. So I think getting an extension done makes sense. Now, is it going to be the full max? That remains to be seen. It's a massive number, but Jaylen Brown is someone I want to keep in Boston, and I think you guys do as well. But let me know. Maybe you disagree. Should the Celtics extend Jaylen Brown? Type E for extend or D for don't. I'm in the camp of extending him. Pin comment on today's video, so if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, let me know. Type E for extend or D for don't. Now, this is the question of that makes it interesting, right? Because while I want to extend him, can you avoid the 5-year supermax, right? I mean, this is 5 years, $300-ish million for Jaylen Brown. Like, it would be the biggest extension in NBA history. And I know that when players get paid, like, it's not their fault, and like, it's not one of those deals where it's like, even though he's not the best player in the NBA, it doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a max contract. Like, I'm not saying that, but like, does Jaylen Brown deserve the biggest contract of all time? The answer is probably no. So could you get him at like 5 years and $270 million? Chop $5 million off per season or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it would come down to Brown and his agent to see if he would take a little bit less, but I mean, that's just kind of how it works, right? Like, when guys become available to extend, you kind of just have to pay up. But I will be curious to see if the Celtics play hardball at all or not. Nikola Jokic, worth every dime. Tyrese Haliburton, probably worth every dime. He's the best player in Indiana. LaMelo Ball, you're Charlotte. You got to pay that guy. Anthony Edwards, you're Minnesota. You got to pay that guy. But you're the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown's not your best player. Do you just give him a blank, empty check, $304 million with those incentives? I don't know. I mean, I want to keep him, but I do think if you're Boston, you try to get that number down a little bit if possible, but end of the day, he's probably going to get it. So it just comes down to whether or not you want to keep the player long-term or not. Now, don't miss out if Jaylen Brown signs an extension. We're going to have you covered, and we'll have you covered on all Boston Celtics news, rumors, everything else all year round leading up to the season, especially then, of course, in-season content. So hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and do not miss out on the latest surrounding the Boston Celtics. Now, it's a lot of money. There's no doubt about it, like I said. You do this, you're going all in on Brown and Tatum. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're going to be in the luxury tax. Like, you're going to spend a lot. Now, you're the Boston Celtics. You should be a team that's spending in the tax. But if there is an ounce of hesitation from Brad Stevens, maybe they do let this year play out. I wouldn't do that. I think that sends a bad message, but if you can get him for just a tick less than the supermax, I think that would be ideal. And it's just weird too. Like, again, it's when you become available for a deal, right? So it's not Jaylen Brown's fault, but if Brown's making over $50 million per year and Jayson Tatum's making in the 30s and Tatum's clearly the top guy, like, is that sending the right message? I don't know. I think you tell Tatum, look, when you're up, we're going to pay you too. But it's just tricky because having two guys on a supermax makes it real hard to build a good roster around them. Now they have KP under an extension for a couple of years, so you're good there. But yeah, I mean, keeping role players long term like Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, that becomes a lot harder under these circumstances. So it just comes down to roster construction. How do the Celtics want to build this? And that's what they have to be thinking about before they hand out this deal. Now, if you could only keep one long term, who's it going to be? Is it going to be number 0, Jayson Tatum? If so, type 0. If it's going to be number 7, Jaylen Brown, type 7. Let us know down in the comments. Now, we have a deal for you. Speaking of numbers, 40% off this T-shirt shorts combo. And with it being summertime, perfect time to get this shirt shorts combo. Right now, chatsports.com/Celtics combo. Click and shop today. Do not miss out on this great deal. Let's get you caught up on the latest around Malcolm Brogdon. There's a report out there that the Celtics are shutting down trade ideas for Brogdon ahead of the upcoming season. Here's Steve Bulpett from Heavy.com. He says there was an assumption among some NBA clubs that Malcolm Brogdon was up for grabs in the trade market after he had already been scheduled to go to the Clippers in a 3-team deal that netted Kristaps Porzingis for the Celtics. But while perhaps every player is available if the right deal comes along, at least one team saw the door shut on its bid when it came calling. We asked about him, and we were told he's a valued member of the team, said a league source. Now, when you think about this, it makes sense, right? Because what is something we've talked about all offseason, especially after trading Marcus Smart, is your guard depth took a hit. I don't think you can trade Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon without replacing at least one of those guys. Like, Summer League came and went, and none of the guys really blew us away. Delano Banton, you've got Payton Pritchard there, but he's already going to have to be in the rotation. Like, if you trade Brogdon, the only way you can do that is if you're getting a quality guard in return. So they need Malcolm Brogdon. Now, I think Boston, behind closed doors, would tell you they would have rather traded Brogdon than Marcus Smart, which is why they tried to do that first. But you can't trade both. That's the bottom line. You couldn't lose your two top point guards. So I think he'll stick around for now. Maybe trade deadline, an upgrade at point guard becomes available and you move Brogdon in a deal. But as things currently sit, you need him on this roster. And look, he had a great regular season. 15-point scorer, 44% from 3. Now, didn't shoot as well in the playoffs, but remember he had that injury that he suffered midway through as well. So I think Brogdon can still be a solid player for this team. As your 4th or 5th option behind your new big 3 with KP as your 3, I don't think that's bad at all. I think him and Derrick White in your backcourt with Brown and Tatum on the wing and Porzingis in there, I think that's more than serviceable. And again, you trade him, what, Payton Pritchard going to start? You're going to start Jaylen Brown at the point? I don't think those are great options. So I think Brogdon will stick around. Maybe something changes, but for now, based on the information we have, I think he will be here. Now, should the Celtics deal Malcolm Brogdon? Should they trade him? Maybe you think they should. I don't. Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. Should the Celtics trade Malcolm Brogdon? All right, guys, it's going to do it again. Thanks for bearing with me. A little under the weather, but still wanted to bring you guys the latest Celtics news and rumors. My name is Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys soon.